So far this year in Spanish, you have learned that the word que can be used two ways. It can be used as a question word, que. Note the accent on the E, which means it is a question word. It also means there is an added emphasis to the E sound when you pronounce the word. Que. You have also learned to use que as part of a verb phrase superduo with tener to express something that has to be done, like el perro tiene que comer, the dog has to eat, or tienes que estudiar, you have to study, or tengo que lavar los trastes, I have to wash the dishes. There is a third way that que can be used. But before I teach you that, let me tell you a story. In Verbland, all was peaceful. The verbs knew their place. If there was a series of verbs in a row, they all knew that they would only get to morph into a conjugated verb if they were the first one in a row or in a series. If they weren't the first ones, they had to stay like babies in their original infinitive form. Maybe it wasn't fair, but everyone knew their place. And there was peace. Until one day, Kay showed up and broke up the calm. When Kay came into the series, other verbs got a chance to morph. Their lives were never the same. So, in all seriousness, you use que to break up a series of verbs. It is used when you need to conjugate a verb that was not first in a sentence. When you have more than one subject in a sentence. When what or who the verb is talking about changes. We usually use the word that in English for the same purpose. But we also use who, whom, and which. These are called relative pronouns. These are words that introduce a string of words relative to a previously mentioned word in the sentence. Here are some examples in English and Spanish. In these examples, the English verbs are circled in pink along with their subjects, and the Spanish verbs are circled in green. You believe that the baby is beautiful. So you is the subject of believe, while baby is the subject of is. It's a second person verb first, you believe, and a third person verb second, baby is. En español, crees que el bebé es hermoso. So first we have a second person singular verb, crees, and then we have the word que, which breaks things up and allows for a third person singular verb to follow, es, which goes with bebé, the baby is. Here's another example. I want the milk that you drink. I want is first person. There's the word that, and then there's a second person verb, you drink. In Espanol, it's the same thing. Quiero, first person. La leche que, the word that breaks things up, introducing a second person verb. Bebes, from beber, to drink. You drink. Here's a third example. He believes that the robot can think. Él cree que el robot puede pensar. This last sentence is interesting because all the conjugated verbs are in the third person singular. Que is used in this case because there's one person who believes and another thing, in this case a robot, who can. So even though both he and the robot are third-person nouns, they are different entities and subjects in the sentence. So que and that signal that one person or thing believes, while another person or thing, the robot, can think. Before we finish, I want you to take a look at one more thing, and that is, in all the English sentences, I just removed the word that. And the sentences still make sense. You could say, you believe the baby is beautiful, and it makes just as much sense as, you believe that the baby is beautiful. I want the milk you drink is the same thing as, I want the milk that you drink. And he believes that the robot can think is the same thing as, he believes the robot can think. While you can take these words, called relative pronouns, out of the English sentences and it still makes sense, you can never remove the word que from these Spanish sentences. The word que must be there, otherwise the sentences make no sense. You have to say, crees que el bebé es hermoso, quiero la leche que bebes, and él cree que el robot puede pensar. In review, you now know 3 uses of the word que. The first one is as a question. What? Que? The second is to express to have to do something. Tengo que estudiar. I have to study. And the third is to break up a sentence so that you can use another subject and another conjugated verb. Like in the example you're familiar with in class, ¿crees que un robot puede pensar? Sí, creo que un robot puede pensar.